IIC Cell of Diva PMR organized session on process of innovation, development and technology readiness level and commercialization of lab technologies and tech transfer. Now I would like to request our very own Dr. Meghna Bilare ma'am to felicitate our guest, Mr. Manish Dudnani sir. Ma'am?
Yeah, wait for 1 minute, please.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. Today we have with us Today to guide us on process of innovation, development and technology readiness level and commercialization of lab technology and tech transfer, we have with us Mr. Manish Dudnani sir. Mr. Manish Dudnani sir brings with him diverse pharmaceutical R&D and technology experience in the areas of development, transfer, remediation, manufacturing operation in the pharma, consumer and medical devices. In his recent role as cluster lead MS&T India, he played a key role in driving transfers, development of a product for consumer, ensuring highest standard of quality, safety and consumer satisfaction. Manish sir is leading self-care MS&T India, Japan and Korea for consumer business in Johnson & Johnson. While in pharma, he has patent on his name and have developed many products during his career. He has worked in renowned companies like Novartis, Lupin, and Johnson & Johnson. Mr. Manish sir has done his post-graduation in industrial pharmacy from JSS College of Mysore. He is certified with Six Sigma Green Belt and is also a certified FPX project leader. During his leisure time, he enjoys reading and traveling. So, it's our privilege to have you as a resource person for today's session. Now, I would like to request sir to enlighten the students with his address. Please, sir.
Thanks, Soni, and thanks, Dr. Meghna, for the felicitation. Appreciate your efforts and giving a detailed introduction, which I never expected, but thanks a lot. I'll be sharing my screen. Just let me know when it is visible. Yeah. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, as you know, today's topic is related to technology readiness, innovations, commercializations, and transfers. I will just take you through the glimpse, give you a base knowledge, and some one or two examples. Will take you, if you all are okay, I will take you to one live example where you can also share your inputs, whether this is appropriate or not. Okay. And I guess it should be a little bit interactive session so that you also get some insights, what you're thinking and how it can take it forward. At the end, I'll share you some 2 or 3 videos where you can just check how it works, what is the failure which was decided, and what was the success which has decided it. Okay, you might have seen these videos, but I'd just like to share during this session. Okay. So a brief overview, what I'll take you through this session within 55 to 60 minutes. What is TRL? who has found it, who has invented it, who has given this idea to implement to the world, what are the stages of TRL, what TRL tools are used or what is used for, and different types of sectors using this TRL. So it's not limited, which are highlighted over here. There are n numbers, but I have just given as an example where you can use aerospace, pharmaceutical, software, road transportation, and nuclear decommissioning. If I am fast, just let me know. Yeah, so I can slow my pace. So what is TRL? It's a fundamental level where the technical analysis are done to set of metrics that enables the assessments of the maturity of a particular technology and the consistent comparison of maturity between different types of technology, all in the context of specific system, application, and operational environment. So on my left, there is an unmarried man. On my right, there is a married man. So this is a maturity difference which will have. The same is with girls. Yeah. And the other best example is the typewriter, which has been converted into a laptop, which is now a particular maturity level where you can do even online all the aspects related to printing, whatever you want, typing, which was a base requirement over here. So we have upgraded, refined ourselves, and came up with a super technology. Who has found it or who has invented it? Okay, this was invented by NASA. NASA in 1974. First, they have came up with 7 TRLs. Okay, in 1989, they have refined their activities where they have came up with 9 TRL, and still the work is in progress for 10 TRLs to identify on the commercial level. What was the purpose why they have came up behind this was due to one of the sonic waves reduction which they were having during their aeroplane manufacturing. So they have built up in such a way that the sonic wave have been reduced, which noise we get. They have invented for fighter planes and even for satellite rockets. So what is the base of technology readiness level? Okay, it is divided into 3 sections. One is invention, which consists of basic research, research feasibility, and a proof of concept. Okay, this is a game changer base where you come up with certain ideas and you implement it. Okay, I'll take this in detail in next slides. The second base is innovation. Okay, it is related to technology, how you can demonstrate whether it is portable, feasible, or acceptable in terms of commercialization, which contributes for 4, 5, and 6, which is technology development, technology prototype, and technology development viability. And the last comes to commercialization, right? So it is related to system integration, system development. Can you integrate into a system? Can you develop a commercial product which is good for consumer and the end user who is going to use it? You do a systems test, and then you come up with certain launch where you help with commercialize corporate or equity investments. You go towards corporate or go with an IPO to make it more commercialized and make it available globally. This is in detail. Okay, these are sections which has been just shared how different companies take this TRL into their regular routine and implementation. Those are the phases on the downside, which is research, translation, development, and commercialization, which I have described earlier. Medical science goes with TRL 1, TRL 2, which are the basic research, okay, and software and science engineering goes with basic ideas and concept development. In TRL 3, TRL 4, we have a in medical, it will be a preclinical research. I'll take it in next slides in detail. I'm just giving you a brief aspects about all the parameters. On software, it is related to test, evaluate basic concepts, and escalate model, right? In science and engineering, it is an experimental proof of concept by developing a prototype, saying that whether it will work or not, doing a lab demonstration. In TRL 5 and 6, again, it's a lab scale validation, prototype, model contains all major elements, okay, which needs to contribute, or you start to define a specification, how I have to build. This is late in medical research, it is late clinical research, and phase 1 trials starts over here in TRL 6. TRL 7, 8, and 9 are purely based on the demonstration activities, commercialization, and product to be proven. In this, I will take you each and everything what you want to know about basic research technology in TRL 1, TRL 2, TRL 3, what aspects have to be covered, what is the goal, what are the objectives, how you can take it forward, and what paper-based documents you need to do on this. So basic research technology is an unproven idea. Yeah. So you don't know this idea, but when you are walking, you come up with idea. So you start to observe it and report it. For that, what you do a scientific research begins to be translated into applied research and development. You start of thinking it, building up the story, how I have to take it forward. What will be the outcome? Published research that identify the principles that underlie the concept. So you may even see the prior arts or some literature surveys where this concept have been developed or not, what the researchers have worked on these aspects. If you come with a basic research technology and that is acceptable, you go for research to prove its feasibility. So what you do a concept formulation, or you develop a prototype, you start working on that. Practical application is invented based on TRL1. Potential of the application is speculative and is inferred from general assumptions or some analytical data. So based on analytical data or based on hypothetical ideas, you start inventing it, you start formulating it. What we should be the outcome or the supporting information, what we'll have is published research that outlines the application. Okay, you may have one experiment which has been even done earlier. So you will take that as an outline of that application, do an initial analysis, and underline the principle. So if my product A is working as 1, 2, 3, but not as 4, 5, 6, you will take that and take it forward. You will do this initial analysis and say that my product is feasible only for 1, 2, and 3 steps. Okay, that's a basic prototype what you'll start to incorporate. Okay. On the feasibility aspect, it comes to a proof of concept. In proof of concept, what does it mean to you? It's an analytical and experimental studies are performed on a lab scales to validate analytical prediction. So in concept formulated, you have done one experiment, but now you need to prove it, right? You need to prove it whether it is working or not. So you may do 4 or 5 experiments more and do analytical predictions whether it is working to my confidence interval of 90 or 95%, or is it below 75%. Okay, basis on your graphical representations or statistical evaluation, whichever parameters you want to use, you can, but it will give you an indication. So work is done on various components of the potential technologies, okay, which are not integrated. Maybe as you are a software people, maybe you might be thinking to integrate your software with iOS or with Android. So whether those are suitable or not, you will just check on those aspects. For that, you will generate an experimental data, measured parameters of interest in comparison with analytical predictions. So if you think my A should give me X, but your A has given you Y, that means it is not meeting the requirement. So you go back again and formulate your concept formulation to meet A as X. Yeah. Technology demonstration, you do a lab demonstration, low fidelity. What do you mean by low fidelity over here? Is a paper documentation. Okay. Whatever work you have done, you start it writing down, document it. See, once, because if you don't document it, you will not know what previous activities you have done. So that's the basic purpose for this to demonstrate. So basic technology components are integrated to establish that they will work together. This is relatively low fidelity compared with eventual systems. So results of laboratory testing, comparison with system performance goals. This will be your objective and outcome, which you need to do a paper documentation on those aspects. Lab scale demonstration, high fidelity. This is purely on the actual testing system. Okay, you'll try to mimic your practical your experimental approach on daily basis as a practical on n number of equipments or instruments, whichever you are proposing. So the basic technology components are integrated with reasonable realistic supporting elements, so they can be tested in a simulated environment. So simulated environment is a real testing. So results of laboratory testing in simulated environment identified barriers for targets, performance goals. So, and plans to overcome. So now for an example, okay, if I give you an internet, if you're using a dongle, you may not get the required Mbps speed what is required. So you will try to see what is the level, why my goal of 100 Mbps is not getting achieved, right? Is there too many internet pages open, or is there traffic on the servers which is modulating it? So these are the real-time simulated environment on which you can work. I may not be an expert in software and technical aspects, but I'm just sharing the examples which are on daily basis. Sixth and seventh TRL is a system development. Okay, it's a prototype system design. Now you know that my concept has been built up, my system has been integrated. What you do is you start building up a prototype system design. How it is, how you have to make it, maybe aesthetic point of view, maybe hardware point of view, maybe a software point of view, whether it is suitable, viable option. You will start working on a model formulation, right? The system is integrated with support elements, and model design is created to be tested in simulated or operational environments. What you expect from the results? Results for the prototype testing is simulated lab environment. Data are close to target expectations. So if you say my data is around 95, 97%, it meets your prototype design and it meets your previous TRL stages of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next stage of system development is TRL 7. What does it constitute? It constitutes a prototype system tested in operational environment. So prototype near or at a planned operation system represents a major step from TRL 6 by requiring demonstration on actual system prototype in an operational environment. Okay, either in the field or on craft, in vehicle or in space. So I'll share this example, you'll get how it works. Results of the prototype testing in operational environment demonstrate. So if somebody has developed a software, what you do, okay, you have done all this TRL 6. What you do to for your testing, you share it with your friends saying that whether it works or not properly, just check it out. This is an operational environment, right? You will go into a production environment, limited production environment for 5 or 6 people, test it whether it is suitable or not, and then you take up for the launch and operations. So TRL actual system completed. The system is qualified through tests and demonstrations. Technology has been proven to work in its final form and under expected conditions. So what do you expect from this? Results of testing in its final configuration, assessment of it meeting its operational requirements, plan options or actions to tune and finalize the design. So how it is linked to TRL 7 and 8. Okay. In this, when you have demonstrated with your friends, right, into the software or an application, you have made certain specifications, right? So it has to operate at certain level. It has to be faster pace. If it is not working, or is my hyperlinks are not working properly, or are my icons mismatched, or those are not placed properly. So this will come out in this feedback. So what you will do, you will refine or retune those applications, those hyperlinks or those icons to be in a proper place to have a very appealing and aesthetic look and operational conditions for those software or applications. What is TRL 9 is now you have completed all the sets, you have done all your specifications, design, you have done your all of the activities, okay, related to your build up of the application or software. You launch the product, okay, you launch it in one city or in a state, see the actual applications of the technology in its final form and under mission conditions or on market. This reports on a real application performance. So, as I said, what this TRL can be used as a tool. Okay, TRL approach proved too useful as a tool for, there are many reasons, but this, and I have just specified based on experience, based on literatures what I have reviewed. So it's a general understanding of technology status, risk assessment and management. If you find any risk, how to mitigate those risks. Project timelines. So you need to define the project timelines also. So that will help. TRL will help to define that. Resource requirements. So if you require 1 employee or 5 employees or 10 employees, TRL will help for those aspects. Estimate cost. So based on the resource requirement, project timelines, you can even estimate the cost which will support. Decision making in respect of technology funding, decision making with respect of technology transfer, project timelines, again it has been repeated, I guess, resource requirement and estimate cost. Yeah. And what kind of data sources can be useful for TRL analysis? So you need to do a TRL analysis, right? How you will do it? You can't just go randomly. You need to do some work behind or homework to understand, to build your own concept. So what resources you can use? Scientific publication in referred journals, government agency reports, company news releases, public news, web blogs, ads, or media, personal communication with experts, researchers, and entrepreneurs. Okay. Based on experience of industries, there is some defined checklist for TR. Okay. It is not mandatory that you have to follow this. Yes, you can use this, but if you have your own additional requirements, you can definitely add because it's not a limited checklist. So, is the innovation user friendly? If it's friendly, is it feasible? If it's feasible, does it work? If it works, can we make a prototype? If prototype is there, does it sound with science? Okay, all detailed investigation related to activities. If it is related, can we demonstrate it? If it is demonstrated, can we do a pilot plant lab prototype? If pilot plant is succeeded based on the testing procedures of or method available and specification defined, can we do a lab testing? If lab testing is available, can we build up and do a field testing? After field testing, again, can we check from consumer point of view or from market point of view? Is it affordable? Okay. What do user think? That is post marketing. What is the feel? Is it really what you say comfortable to use or not comfortable to use? Is there any drawback? Okay. And is it commercially viable? Commercially viable over here means purely from cost point of view, from net profit point of view, from margin point of view for the individual entrepreneur or an organization or any manufacturing unit. Okay, and feedback post launch. So if you want to refine or retune your innovations or inventions, what you have done, you need to have a post market surveillance so that you can update your application, software, or your product as per the consumer needs. So I'll take you to an example of TRL, how it works, what has been taken as parameters to define this. Okay, I have taken this example of I'll come back. So these are the stages of TRL 1, 2, 3, which I have fragmented into all these designs. You will come to know one by one. Okay. So for an example, if you are playing somewhere or if you're traveling or you're going and you get an idea that I need to develop a synthetic rubber. Okay. So you have worked on an idea, you have developed a methodology and approach, early analysis, and so on it. So what you said, you decide to make a synthetic tire, you observe the principle you observed and formulated. What you have done, you have taken a synthetic, you have done a chemistry, you have developed a synthetic rubber, you have seen it's whether it's soft or rugged. Okay, principle you have developed it. After seeing that, you have a rubber in hand. What you have done, you have done a feasibility case studies. You have done a modeling and simulation, innovative technology or ideas solicit user. You have thought, now I need to develop a tire which can be used in a vehicle. So what you have done, you have tested the rubber for its flexibility, whether it is forming strength or it is not forming a strength. Okay, when you see that it is forming a strength, you have done a components validated in control environment. You have done an experiment now which is in a control environment, maybe a temperature specific, maybe humidity specific, maybe dissolution specific of rubber, or a polymer which is required to do this synthetic. Okay, you do that and you check the compatibility, whether it is suitable for the individual function point of view. So what you do, you test it. So does the rubber has appropriate characteristics? So whether it gets tar, whether it gets burn, or even it handles the frictions or force which are required. So you do this preliminary testing on that rubber. You know now this has been done, this has been developed. You do an integration system. You do a fully controlled setting system, interface documented, operation requirement developed. So you develop a tire made using rubber in a lab. So finally, you come with a prototype tire in a lab, which is now mounted on a wheel. Okay, so limited prototype testing, realistic environment, operational requirements satisfied. So you do this all activities on your prototype tire, either on road or on artificial instruments. So you might have seen, if you have seen the TVS Apache ad earlier, maybe a year back, where they had shown tires running on a wheel and on the base. So that's an example where they do it testing on artificial instrument. Some company does it on road. Yeah. On TRL 7 development, you get a complete prototype test with real world condition, involve broader user community, preliminary draft specification. So as I said, when you share your software with your friends, the same thing happens over here. Tire is mounted on a wheel and tested on road. So maybe company will take 5 or 6 cars, hire them, mount the wheel or tires on that their wheel and test it for the specification requirement, what they have specified, whether it is force, whether it is tensile strength, whether it is friction, whatever it is the requirement of a tire. Yeah. After this completion and successfully viable option, they go for a fully operational environmental in real world. Expand pilots or larger deployments. So here might be 7 or 10 cars. They have done it on 100 or 500 cars. Okay. System refinements. So after running on 50 or 100 cars, they see no, there is some error in our tire which needs to be applied and specification needs to be defined. So they refine the system. They do again a preliminary testing and redefine the final specification which is required for a commercial product. Proof details, they take a certification of a tire to be used for commercial aspects. So once the certification is done, they deploy it as a standard method, okay, and then give a training even to their employees or training even to public, either via media or either via ads or either via literatures. Okay, so it's a purely commercial deployment and launched with a life cycle testing and safe for use. So finally, the company is ahead for this tire commercialization, which is safe for the use at the end user consumer who are we. Okay, so basis on that, this is a practical example which I have shared you to understand how this works. Yeah, this is TRL in space technology. The same philosophy is taken. I have just shared this slide deck just to know how it takes even in a space technology where they use for their aeroplanes or rockets, how they design it, what proof of concept they're building in laboratories, and at the final system there will be a launch. Yeah, I'll not go in a deep for this activity. Okay, TRL in pharmaceuticals. Yes, usually now in TRL in pharmaceutics it is defined as different one. It is defined as stage gate. Okay, but the concept remains same. So what we do is a drug discovery where 5,000 or 10,000 compounds are identified. I get some synthetic compound. I see whether it will be feasible. Then out of 5,000 and 10,000, I just get 250, which are really formulated, which can be used. Okay. Out of that 250, I do a prototype. I fail in 245 molecules. I get only 5 molecules. Okay. So after 5 molecules, when this proof of concept has been developed and a prototype has been developed, I go into phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 trials. Okay. Where in out of this 5, I hardly get 1 molecule. Okay. So I am spending almost near about 10 to 12 years to just identify which of the molecule is suitable for my patients. Yeah. So based on all these aspects, I come for the one final molecule where I need to do a phase 3 data evaluation completely, share with the health authorities. FDA is a US FDA authorities. So if you're in US, you need to do this. If you're in EMEA, that is Europe, there is a different scenario. If you are in Asia Pacific, there is a different scenario. Okay, so you need to give an application, take approval for this, and do it on a larger scale manufacturing. Okay, and phase 4 is a post marketing surveillance, which I have shared you again earlier, whether we are getting complaints, whether patient is really getting cured, or is the efficacy of the tablet is working properly or not. Okay, this is the basic concept in pharmaceuticals, how the TRL is defined. Yeah, so I'll take you just for the vaccine aspects. Now you might be really eager how vaccines are getting developed due to this COVID-19 and how fast it has came into existence. Okay, so I'll just give you a glimpse how it has worked. So Department of Health and Human Resources, this is one integrated readiness level. Okay, which is a scale where we define how it goes into a preclinical, clinical, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 vaccinations. Okay. So vaccine development process, it's a long process which takes up to 5 TRLs. Okay, this will go on and it's an ongoing process which are merged together. So we do some n number of experimental studies on upstream, downstream activities where you do some lab scale, small quantities, maybe 1 ml, 5 ml, at the max 10 ml. Okay, then you develop a process for a non-CGMP small scale. Non-CGMP is a non-current good manufacturing practices. So we just do it in laboratory. So non-GMP means it is cannot be used for consumers. Okay, it cannot be injected in any consumers or in any animals or anything. So that's a base requirement for non-GMP. Once you identified this, you go with phase 1, where you do a CGMP compliant because we need to inject it in humans if required. So, okay. So it takes almost span of 20 years for vaccination. But how India or US FDA were able to do this within 10 months? I'll take you into the next slide. Okay. Usually, this is the traditional development approach for a vaccine, right? It's exploratory, preclinical, that is in mice. You do a phase 1 in 10 or 15 patients, then in 100, and then in 1,000. You do a large manufacturing over here, and then FDA reviews and license. But during this pandemic, what all pharmaceuticals or Indian pharmaceuticals, what they have done is, this base. We had already this base evolvement, which was there for COVID virus earlier, even in 1990s, which was related to respiratory. Okay, we had that base development methodology and applications readily available. So what directly the pharmaceutical companies have gone directly on the exploratory and preclinical studies, that is in Jan 2020, okay, which is called as potential operation wrap speed time. Okay, it's a speed time POWS, which is defined in FDA, where you can at least bypass the exploratory activity, where you have a base structure foundation built up for vaccine. You do a preclinical. If you get preclinical within 15 or 20 days, you directly go for phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. So here you see after phase 3 only we start manufacturing, and after manufacturing we get permission from health authorities. But what here it was done was in phase 3 only, simultaneously, pharmaceutical companies have gone for FDA authorization for emergency use. So they have directly taken a permission, okay, and started simultaneous manufacturing, which takes around 7 to 12 months for manufacturing itself, right? So they have started this application simultaneously on a risk-based approach, as I said earlier, right, in TRL, risk assessment. So that risk assessment, pharmaceutical companies have taken upfrontly. They have manufactured it on larger scale. As soon as they got permission, they have sent it to patients and doctors for injecting the vaccine, which is approximately November 2020, which is in the span of 10 months, which was actually span of 10 years. Having said that, it was only for the emergency use to avoid this pandemic, okay? But the actual process still remains same. If unfortunately we still get some pandemic behaviors in future after 5 or 10 years, the same approach may be applied. Yeah, I'm going to take you a live example. If few people can share their thought process, how it has worked, what Indian government has done for this, just to understand how, bring in the TRL behind you, take it on a scale, think of this, whether this was suitable or not suitable. I have just made my plan. If I miss something, feedbacks are welcome. You can come back and even share. Manish, you can have added this. Manish, you could have done this. Yeah. So this is related to COVID-19 India readiness level with technology. So what was the thought process, right? We had seen a lot of bad 2 years, everyone. So medical facilities, beds, oxygen, testing, swab development, vaccine development, vaccination, and livelihood is a challenge. So what was this feasible? How did it work? Did we have a hospital readiness? Were we ready with oxygen? Were we ready with vaccine? Were vaccine done? And for the RT-PCR antigen testing, were there labs? Could we do the lab testing, field testing? Was this affordable? And what we were thinking and how this prototype is sound. Yeah. So you can keep mic opens, but don't come faster. Come by one. I'll advise or suggest. Don't come together. Okay. If somebody is speaking, take a pause, then come on later. Keep it an interactive session. So COVID-19 India readiness level with technology. So in TRL 1 and 2, yeah, I'll just hold on. I'll keep it on my side. Oh, okay. So in TRL 1 and 2, basic research. So what government of India, okay, has thought of? Any ideas? Can you throw something? Is everyone available or not? Hello?
Yes, I request all the participants, please interact with sir.
So if I'm only giving lectures, then it will not make a sense, right? I need you people to understand what is TRL. Okay. So you can come later also if you are uncomfortable to speak. Yeah. So TRL1 basic research. What was the activity? We had one preliminary round of 14 hours curfew, right? Where the government of India has said that we will go for a 14-hour curfews. So he has done that idea. He has started implementing his idea and methodology, how we can work. After doing this activity, government of India done a feasibility, okay, modeling or simulation. What they have done, They have done a 21 days lockdown, simulated in all major cities, right? So maybe first Mumbai, Pune, Delhi, Bangalore, which were major cities, they have kept a lockdown for them, provided all resources for food and medicine swab, okay, and simultaneously they have started the swab development. This was the idea where they have generated. For components to validate, now they were seeing that this is going on increasing. So what they have done, they have even done the flight lockdown. They have started a containment and non-containment zone. So in a specific areas, there is containment, in specific non-containment. They have even implemented lock on intra and intracity travels. Yeah. And now to fight this, what they have started to integrate into the system. Integrate into the system means implement it overall India, how they can work it, how they can fully control it. Okay. So what they have started preparing PPE kits, masks, sanitizer. They have started testing. They have taken hardly 10 days for a swab sticks, okay, which was developed with Johnson and Johnson and Reliance within 10 days, so that they can do the testing for the COVID-19 virus. Okay, for this, they have started PPE and mask. But what was limited prototype? They have started testing it on a limited people, whether the PP is working properly or not. They have even implemented oximeter. So prototype was be ready with oximeter. If you are having below 90, get admitted. If you are above 95, you are ready with those aspects. Second is a complete prototype implemented at every state, district, village. Okay, they have implemented rapid antigen testing, RT-PCR. Simultaneously, they have came up with a portable antigen device, portable oxygen cylinder, and vaccination drive at home. Yeah, so they have done a development, even started vaccination drive at home. How they have made it fully operational? Fully operational. Even now, they have provided free vaccinations to senior citizens in government hospitals. Then they have reduced the cost of your RT-PCR testing. They have started vaccination for the kids. They have reduced the time from quarantine from 14 days to 7 days. Okay, they have redefined the specifications and deployed. Yes, now government of India is ready with its technology and infrastructure. Technology, rapid antigen tester, RT-PCR testing, PPE kits, oximeter, sanitizers. Okay, infrastructures, you have oxygen beds ready, you have hospital infrastructures ready, readiness at all cities and villages. Yeah, to fight against the COVID. So this was the live example which I thought I'll share you. So I have just tried to implement this scenario into TRL, taking the base of a TRL, which I see is best suitable to define the TRL, how it can be taken even on daily basis. Yeah, I will take you through videos. You might have seen this. Okay, so this one video will give you again the concept of TRL, which is around for 6 minutes. And I will take this video, which is part of this two only. Okay, one is good innovation, which is very viable. Second is mind-blowing innovation, but alas, it's not a viable option. Okay, you'll come to know. So I'll just take you to the video. Just let me know if you can see it. Can you see it?
No, sir.
No, can you see my screen?
Yes, sir. The previous screen.
So we can see the PPT.
You can see the PPT. 1 second. Let me share it. New share. 1 second, yeah. Now can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thanks.
So we can't hear the video's voice.
1 second. But my volume is there already. It's on. Even on setting my give me a sec, please. It's full volume. Share something. Okay. Now just let me know if you can listen it.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We all know that research helps make our transportation system better. But in the early stages of research, especially when that research involves technology development, how do we determine when a research solution is ready to help us solve a transportation challenge? When should it go from the lab to field testing? And when is it ready for full implementation agency-wide? Knowing the answer to these questions across the life of a project or research area is key to managing an effective research program. This video will examine an evaluation process called Technology Readiness Level, also known as the TRL Scale. Using this assessment tool throughout the life of a research project can help us in a lot of vital ways. Following, we will see the benchmarks for each TRL. The first 3 levels of the scale cover the basic research stage, including work that strives to understand concepts and principles that could lead to a method or approach to solve a problem. Understanding electricity came before the battery, the light bulb, and the electric car could come along. The chemical properties of soil and the physical properties of different aggregates before modern paved roadways could improve. Researchers working in levels 1 and 2 are seeking completely new ideas, knowledge, and understanding of something observed in the physical, biological, or social world. Today's transportation agencies do not often conduct or fund basic research in the early stages, but it's important to check that the project is grounded in sound science and a well-thought-out application. Some projects or tasks at level 3 will provide a proof of concept with the end goal of pointing to the evidence that the idea is feasible. The proof of concept presents a strong case that the project's technology, process, device, or program has legs. It addresses a transportation need innovatively and looks highly likely to succeed with further research. The next scale category is applied research, where basic research is proven out as practical in a controlled lab environment. Individual components of a system or technology are extensively tested, component compatibility is demonstrated, and individual functions are tested. Next, integrated components are demonstrated in a fully controlled environment. All internal and external system interfaces are documented, with minimum and target operational requirements developed. The development stage, levels 6 through 8, is where the rubber meets the road, sometimes literally. Testing is usually scaled up and made as realistic as possible, often including real-world usage. At level 6, researchers demonstrate limited system prototype testing in a realistic and relevant environment. It's important to check that when confronted with a real-world problem, the prototype still satisfies all operational requirements. At level 7, the prototype demonstration ramps up and widens to a fully operational environment. As the user community is consistently confronted with more real-world conditions, all interfaces should be tested under stressed and unusual conditions. TRL 8 is the key step which makes the endpoint for research. We have fully proven the idea and developed it so it will work in the real world. Initial pilots begin to expand to larger deployments as users and the public continue to provide feedback. Some testing and refinements may continue at this level through one or a few projects on actual public TxDOT roads in use. How-to documentation training and outreach information are all published and disseminated. A technology or product is considered implemented at level 9 when it's proven and refined enough that it's deployed across its operational environment. Getting from 8 to 9 often involves widespread field trials across multiple districts on real-world projects. The dual purpose of proving it across all of Texas, from Amarillo to Brownsville, from Del Rio to Beaumont, and getting more of TxDOT familiar and comfortable with using the technology through expanded training and outreach. It also usually includes getting the field-proven research published in standard TxDOT or AASHTO specifications.
Yeah, this was one. I'll take you to the second. I guess you might have seen this. Okay, you might be aware of this also. The first is about the success story. Okay, the first video clip is about the success, how they have done work and how they have implemented practically, and is it practically feasible. Okay, the second is related to very good innovation but failure in terms of viable options, in terms of customer friendly, whether it is really usable or not usable, and from commercial and production point of view. Yeah, you can see the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
So you have seen they have taken the prior art or the prior literature, ECG. Okay, that platform already they had a basic research. Based on that basic research, they have started working ahead. Yeah, so which is a success story. This is the second, which was a good innovation but failed due to non-viable or not. So the reason behind to share this video of this Joule automation was the cost of this Joule was approximately for the commercial people was around 70 to 80,000. Okay, which was purely not a viable option for any customer to purchase it. Okay, and they have invested 25 lakhs only for that one Joule prototype which they have launched at Shark Tank. So at an initial stage, this much of money, finances, and the cost, basis on that, it has gone into a failure mode, right? Not into a viable options. So you can see my slide deck right now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So basis on that, it was not taken forward, and even Shark Tanks, the judges who were there were not in a favor to support that. Even if the cost was reduced by 50%, still the cost would be around 35 to 30,000, which is still not a viable option, because for how many years you're going to use? You're going to use it hardly for 6 or 7 years, not beyond that. So that was one of the good innovation, but not a viable option. And earlier you have seen the ECG portable device. I guess that's it from my end. Thank you for listening me and having patience to listen to me with such good approach.
Okay, so now we'll be having question and answer session. So participants can ask their question in chat box or they can unmute themselves and ask.
So I have one question which says, what is the technology readiness level for electric vehicle in India? So I'm not an expert on the automation of electrical vehicle side, Krishna Rajput. But yes, see, the parameters define the same thing. So electric vehicle, right? You need to have, I'll just try to give an answer, but not a perfect one. You already have a basic research of motor vehicles, right? Even if you take an example of Tata Tigor, which was earlier into a petrol, now they have came up with electrical. They had already a base. They might have done n number of experiments, prototypes on the battery level activities, what can be worked, what cannot be worked. Okay, they might have done definitely a fishbone diagrams, which are the materials, which are the attributes, which are the requirements that can fit into what are the electrical requirements, what can you have for battery support, lithium battery or iron battery. All those parameters might have been worked, and then they might have come with the ready available vehicle which is now commercially available. But yes, companies are again redefining the specifications for electric battery. Currently we have a limited viability like 250 kilometers or at max 320 kilometers at one electric charge you can work. So from electrical vehicle point of view, the industry needs to redefine or redefine the specifications related to their electrical batteries, related to the charging points, related to the fast charging availability resources at highways or at villages everywhere. So from from my experience, personal experience, still we are into evolution state. Okay, it will take another couple of years or 4 years to have the upgraded systems where you can have an electric battery with 500 kilometers or 600 kilometers with one charge. Yeah, and government of India needs to definitely support for this revolution aspect. I hope I was able to justify your question. Thank you.
So we don't have any more question in the chat box, so we'll go ahead with. Okay, so it gives me immense warmth and great pleasure to grace all of you present here. I would like to take this opportunity to present vote of thanks for today's session on the topic process of innovation, development and technology readiness level and commercialization of lab technologies and tech transfer by the resource person, Mr. Magnesh Dudnani, sir. Sir, your valuable guidance will help the participants to achieve their dreams and reach their goals. And you have given the valuable insight on TRL. Thank you so much for being with us and guiding us. I also extend my gratitude towards Ministry of Education, Institutional Innovation Council for providing us opportunity to organize the session. Our management believes that such session will encourage students to follow their dreams and treat others with the kindness and never give up on themselves. They always support us for such motivational events. I thank our management, Director Dr. Meghna Bilare ma'am, Associate Director Dr. Vishal Wadadkar sir, Registrar Mrs. Manisha Pawar ma'am, HOD MBA Dr. Tejshri Talla ma'am, HOD MCA Dr. Shika Dubey ma'am, faculty members and IIC coordinators for their continuous support throughout the session. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all the participants, including MBA, MCA, MBA Digital Marketing students for their patient listening and active participation. Thank you, Mr. Manish Dudnani, sir, once again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a great time, guys. Bye-bye.